I would request the coordinators to please ask everyone to come inside the banquet hall and be seated. Shudeep, Shovik, Shubham, please assist in the work. Namaskar, Namaste. Welcome everybody to the Art of Aging workshop. We are very excited to have you all over here. আমি আশা করছি আপনারা খুবই এক্সাইটেড এখানে এসে এবং নিশ্চয়ই জানার একটা আগ্রহ আছে যে আজকে আমরা কি নিয়ে কথা বলবো, কি আসলে এই সেমিনারটা। আপনাদের প্রচুর প্রচুর প্রশ্ন মুখের মধ্যে আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি। So let me introduce the moderator for today's evening, our audio heartthrob, none other than Mr. Jimmy Tangri, the head of 91.9 FM, influencer, and a TEDx speaker. Can we have a round of applause for him, please? A huge round of applause. Please, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening. I'm sure none of you all are senior citizens, right? Can I hear some noise? Act 2. Who's a senior citizen here? No. Who's not a senior citizen here? Can you? That's it. ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. You know, we are all young at heart here. You know, we are like college students. I can still see the smile and all the gentlemen's faces. Somebody is thinking, आज के অনেক মজা হবে. Definitely. My Bengali is not too good. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste time. I'd like to call on our esteemed speakers. And I'd like to start off with a gentleman who always talks about well-being. He's relatively senior, but he looks like a college student. And now I understand why he's a person behind being well and well-being. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Adarsh Narahari, founder and MD Primus. Shotti, college student, he looks like a college student, right? He's the man behind well-being. Adarsh, please, have your seat. All of us want to be happy and healthy, no? We want to eat well, we want to live well, we want to be enjoying our lives. Even at old age, sometimes you like to flirt. It's okay. It's part of being healthy. You know, when I said flirt, the women are smiling more than the men. I don't know why. But, you know, I really appreciate it. You see, today is the time. Let's rewind back to our college days. Just imagine, you know, amra college yachi and we are enjoying ourselves. And that's what life is all about. Be happy and be healthy. If you're happy and you're healthy, you'll always be successful. You know, and that's what life is all about. Sir, I like your style. Are you into baseball or cricket and all that? Capped up on a bhalo. I like that. Next, you know, everybody here on the panel, doesn't matter whatever age, they all look young. And that's what I love them. Next, I would like to call on Hena Nafees, leading clinical motivational nutritionist and lifestyle consultant. When I first saw, I thought, college student again. You know, we have a panel of college students. What a smile. You know, people can drop dead for that smile, by the way. And she's always happy. Now,
Thank you.
I went to her show when I was 5 years old. 5 years old, huh? 5 years old mane ekhan obdi chilo ami. Now I'm little bigger. And this lady still rocks the country, rocks the world, rocks the city. Put your hands together for the golden voice of India, Usha Uthup. Okay, before we start off, let's do a little mic check so everybody can say a big hello to the crowd. Adarsh?
Hello.
That's
No,
a sweet
not loud
hello.
enough.
Good evening, everyone.
Mic to,
This one.
yeah. The lady with the golden voice, you know. And when I first heard her sing, she says those words she loves. I believe in music. I believe in love. Music and love. And that's why she still rocks, and we learn from her, ladies and gentlemen. Usha, your mic, is it on and right? Hey, mic tag to on, Koro.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Namaskar, namaskaram, sat sri akal, assalamu alaikum. Hi, everybody. Namaskar, namaskaram, sat sri akal, assalamu alaikum. Everything's fine. And yeah, good to go.
You know what? I want to do one thing.
Do
we
two
start.
things.
No. I need to give you a tight hug because you've got an amazingly sexy voice, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa.
Would you say so? Yes, absolutely. You know, jahan josh nahi hota, wahan hosh nahi hota. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll have come to rewind back and get into childhood, college days, enjoy life, learn so much about life. And today we got such an expert panel and young people who are going to tell us what life is all about. Didi, I'd like to start off with you. When I was 5, I saw you perform. Whatever I am now, whatever age, I'm not disclosing it, I still see you rocking the stage. You know, as you know, they say age is just a number. As it's been going up and up, you've been becoming younger and younger. So, as you're growing older, what is that one spark which kind of keeps you going, keeps you like as if you're a college student, keeps you rocking on stage, your voice hasn't changed, And you're still the Usha Didi I knew when I was 5 years old. What is that spark? How do you manage to keep going even at this point of life?
Actually, it's all of you. I know that sounds oversimplistic, but really for me, if it weren't for my audience, and I'm a complete people person, so without people, I'm absolutely zero, and it's a give and take, really. I give unashamedly. I hold nothing back when I'm performing or when I'm on the stage. And so how long can you resist me? Sometime you have to say, okay, I love you.
I said it in
just
the beginning
happens,
only.
yeah. So for me, and when, I've realized one thing, the people talk about saying, the same cliche that age is just a number. I don't believe that anymore. I
So
don't
what do you
believe
believe?
that, yeah. I think age is age. And I think that's beautiful. If you can, yeah, what do you say? If you agree with me, then I think you need to give me a clap to start off, actually. Because it's the adrenaline that, pumps up, and the way you feel about the whole thing, and the way people react towards you is really marvelous. And one needs that. And for me, I'm a sucker for routine. I just have to have a routine in the morning. I get up at 5, no matter what happens. I do a pada show. For those of you who live in Calcutta, you know the meaning of a pada show. If you aren't, then it's people who haven't lived here before, they know that it's an all-night show. So even if you come back at 3 o'clock in the morning, one has always to play the role of the mother. So you're up to do the, breakfast for them, and then you get your husband ready, and then he goes off to work, and everything happens, and it's just beautiful. And why do people have to ever say, give me a break? Because when you say, give me a break, and God gives it to you, you won't like it. I think the most important thing is really to live life moment to moment and completely full to its fullest. So age is definitely age. And one can't deny that. And I think the quicker you accept and that time moves on, you have to learn to move on with time. Because if you're fighting time all the time, then it's rubbish, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because you can't stop the hair from graying. You can't stop, you can't stop the wrinkles
Can't stop the hair
from coming.
from brushing off and losing it also.
And you can't stop the wrinkles from coming. But, people don't care. They don't care about it when they look at me, because I don't show that I'm feeling it that way. I'm quite okay.
Didi,
I'm quite okay the way
you
I
look
am.
the same as I saw you when I was 5. What do you have to say about that? You look the same. No change.
No,
I feel so.
I'm telling you, it's the spark, the soul that shines in the eyes always comes out. Yeah, thank you. It's the soul.
She rightly said it, ladies and gentlemen. Now going on to Hina.
Oh, but before we start, I mean, you've already started. Before we start, I think we should all really make a pledge to do something about the horrible things that are going on in Pahalgam, yeah?
Absolutely.
I think we all need to think about that as well. For them, there was no age, and they just got shot down. And, we have to do something about that and really start believing, yes, that we need to take a stand. Yeah, go on.
We need to take a stand, and I always believe one thing. Karma pays back. And karma will pay back in big. It's a matter of time. I know a lot is happening behind the scenes, and we will witness it in time to come, because I always believe ek haath se tali bajta nahi hai, do haath se tali bajta. And when you clap with 2 hands, it's the loudest. And it's going to have every action has an equal and opposite reactions, Didi, and it's going to happen. Our hearts go out to the 26 people and their families. It's not easy. Some people were on their honeymoon. Some people are out there to enjoy themselves. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, these cowards, I'm strongly saying, these cowards attacked or shot. Unthinkable, but I always say, India is a beautiful place, a lovely place.
The best.
And we'll make sure that we move on with a lot of hard-hitting attitude. And I'm sure that'll be a promise. So, moving on to Hina. Hina, you are a nutritionist. You, as I told you, I just sleep 2 hours. I don't know when I eat, what I eat, how I eat. Now, as all of us are aging, do you think nutrition and the way we live, whether it be great sleep, great food, all that is very, very important because, when I was young, I used to eat any and everything. I used to drink water from the tap. There was kabhi problem in हुआ. I never used to fall sick. So, what is your thoughts? Like, as we grow older, as we age, do you think all this plays a very important role? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, good evening, everyone, and I'm happy to be here. And I hope you don't see me as a food police who's going to ask you not to eat. So, don't believe in that philosophy at all. Now, talking about nutrition, nutrition begins in your fetal stage when you're in your mother's womb. That's how important it is. So, you can't say that nutrition is not important because food is all we are living for, isn't it? All of us, like sustenance, money, whatever.
So like some of them like machir jhol, some of them like fried fish and chips. We love all what you all would call not that healthy, right?
No, not at all. Everything is healthy. It's the diet of inclusion which is more important than a diet of exclusion. Because today, the narrative about nutrition is such that people are now scared of eating. There's this whole fear about eating. Older people still don't care that much, but they do when, the doctors tell them that don't do this and don't do that.
Let me tell you, when the doctors tell them, and when no one is looking, they go quietly to the fridge, they take out that gulab jamun and they have it also. Am I right? Hochena life act too. You love what you eat and you love eating what you love, right?
No, the point I want to make here is that you do that, but then you're not happy doing it. The moment you eat that gulab jamun, you're feeling guilty. So where is the pleasure? Food is sacred. And unfortunately today, the way food is being, the way we talk about nutrition, it's become a business. And you've completely, thrown it out of whack. And I don't believe in that at all.
So as we move forward, as we grow older, what do you think we should concentrate on in terms of our well-being and food especially?
See, as I was saying that, there's this whole fear about eating and don't do this and don't do that. See, the focus should be that what should I eat? Like people normally talk, when they come to us, the first thing say, oh, I don't eat rice, I don't eat potatoes, I don't have bananas. But these are all absolutely fine foods. What's wrong with a banana, right? So the whole thing is that, the focus is always on what not to do. The focus should be, and I think there should be a mindset switch from eating right, I think is a passé word, it's outdated. What we should do is eat smart. Smart
right,
eating is what
absolutely.
you need to do because you need to navigate life, and there's something called mental health also. Like say like the kind of profession you have, you won't leave your profession to just eat right, would you? So we'll have to work around your lifestyle. And it's not just nutrition. Healthy eating is about a good lifestyle. And there are 4 pillars of healthy living, which is your diet, of course, how physically active you are, how well you sleep, and how happy you feel, and how you manage your stress in life. Because I think stress is the driver of, is the biggest driver which is making people do wrong things today. Because they're so stressed out, they can't sleep. When they can't sleep, they do the wrong things. Eating one gulab jamun is not a problem. But the problem is when you eat 5 gulab jamuns at one go, because you're so stressed, you don't even realize that I've eaten so much.
So I think mental health is a very, very important part of
absolutely.
it. I'm going on to Adarsh right now. Adarsh is an amazing gentleman. He's what I call into well-being, to ensure that the art of aging comes beautifully. Adarsh, she just said the 4 pillars. You are Primus and you have been actually guiding and helping people to live life healthy, stress-free. Do tell us a little bit about it because it's not an easy task. The human mind many a time is so stubborn कि मुझे ये करना तो मैं ये करूँगा. I love this. I'll do everything else, but I love this. So how do you go about with it? And you are expanding across the country. You are getting people to live life so beautifully. You're getting people to be stress-free to a large extent, mentally strong, as well as creating the happy and healthy atmosphere. So do tell us a little bit about Primus and how you guys are going about with it. Because today, we got such an exceptionally older generation. I wouldn't say older generation, but we got an older crowd who definitely also looks at their well-being. They are very mature. They want to live a healthy life. And more important than just healthy, they want to live a happy life. So what would you like to say?
Absolutely. And I think we have the best example of how to not age. I think Usha ma'am's eyes from 5 to now are exactly the same, right? And I think she kind of epitomizes how to not get old, because getting old is not an option, but feeling old is definitely an option, right? And if you look at aging as a science and why people get older faster, there is a lot of research out there that actually shows that one can control this. And a large part of it is how you feel from inside, right? If you have a positive outlook to life, generally speaking, you would live longer. And there's 2, 3 interpretations on the stress piece. I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm not fully sold that stress actually reduces aging. I think it's good for aging. I'll talk about that, but let me try to make this interactive, guys. So how many of you here know what a blue zone is? Yeah, few hands in the room. All my team members, not fair. What about the people who are not part of my team? Okay, so a blue zone is an area or village in the world where the average age of people is close to 100 or above 100. And the interesting thing is that there are 6 such blue zones in the world, one in Okinawa in Japan, one in Loma Linda in California, Sardinia in Italy, and so on and so forth. Now, if you look at it, these are people with different genetic pools, different food habits, different cultural habits. The only common factor is that they're all living close to 100, and the most important thing is they're living healthily up to 100. How many of you here know what health span means? Because we have all been conditioned to think of lifespan, right? Because we have birth certificate, we have death certificate. This person lived so many years. Who's measuring health span? None of us are, right? And that's actually more important. Who wants to live long depending on somebody else connected to a bunch of tubes on a hospital bed? Nobody wants that, right? The thing that we all value the most is our independence, is our dignity, right? Is our sense of agency. And that's what health span is all about. It's about living actively and healthily till the last day that we are here. And this blue zone essentially epitomizes that. So there was this Japanese researcher. He was based out of Okinawa. And then he went and stayed in all of these 6 blue zones and wrote this book called Ikigai. I'm sure some of you may have read this book called Ikigai. Loosely translated, it means sense of purpose, right? And this gentleman arrived at 5 common factors that were there between all of these blue zones, which made people actually have an improved health span, right? And the first one he found was that people are all physically active in all these villages. You know, everybody tells you movement is life, but it's backed by research. The second thing is he found out that people are mentally engaged, right? As part of their daily life, they use their mind. The third thing is that he found that people have a strong sense of community. They're surrounded by friends, they're surrounded by family. The fourth thing is he saw that each one has a sense of purpose. Nobody retired. This word retirement is the biggest fallacy that's being sold. Right? So that was the fourth thing. And the fifth thing was, he said here people interact with nature. Nature is a part of their everyday life. So what the research of the Blue Zone said is if elders keep these 5 pillars of aging, if they're conscious about it, I need to be physically active, I need to be mentally stimulated, I need to do something every day, I need to have a strong sense of purpose, I have to surround myself with friends, and I'll bring nature as some part of my life, the chances that you live longer, healthier are very high. And this is backed by research. So what we do at Primus essentially is we try to make sure all of these are part of everyday life when you live with us. But we've added 2 more things, because we're in a city, we have words like stress and pollution and all of these things. So we said, hey, we'll overlay this with preventive health. We are all very reactive, right? Something goes wrong, we call up our doctor, then the doctor will say, you go ahead and get these 10 blood tests done. Then you'll rush back with your blood test and they'll say, oh, my God, it's bad, right? And then you're treating symptom. You're never getting to the underlying disease. And that's a endless cycle. So what we do is when we say preventive health, we look at all different form of testing, which is preventive in nature. Think of finding a bad knee and we can cure it through physiotherapy as opposed to getting a knee replacement surgery. Think of finding a cardiac issue early on. Think of finding cancer in stage 1. All we need to do is once in 6 months, if we do a oncology test, we'll find cancer in stage 1. And then you'll have meaningful life. So things like that. So you'll have blood marker tests, you'll have physiotherapy tests, and you'll have psychosocial. When I say test, we all get conditioned to think of it as a test. It's not really a test. As part of everyday routine, we're able to understand this from elders, and then we're able to find underlying conditions early such that we improve health span, right? So that is one additional pillar for Primus. The last one is, of course, nutrition. Typically, this is, of course, something Hina will talk about in a lot more detail. But when we eat in our own house, we are always optimizing for cost. No, we'll cook once a day and we'll eat the same thing twice. Because, who will cook again? And when we cook, we are only looking at probably one rice with, maybe meat or vegetables. But you're not getting all the micronutrients, right? And these things have a long-term impact. But if there is a central restaurant which is backed by healthy, hygienic food, which is designed by nutritionists, you get all your micronutrients in every meal. So kind of these 5 pillars of Blue Zone with the right nutrition and the health is what would reduce the process of aging, right?
Absolutely. And talking about blue zones, Usha, you tour a lot. You're always high into energy. What characteristics of the blue zone? There were 4 or 5 pillars which he said, no, you have to be mentally this, etc., great food. So in your tours, what are the kind of blue zones which creep into your life, which keeps you going?
Actually, it's all very well, actually. It's all very well to have youngsters talking like this and saying, you must do your test. But if you're someone like me, I need to treat my mind first because I'm so scared. They'll tell you to do 15 tests and I say if you will go for one, you'll find some other 100 things. So what my mantra in this is, it's not as simple as it sounds, okay? And I'm not being oversimplistic, but this is a piece of not even advice. I just want to share the experience with you because I think it works. And I'm sure you'll agree that it works. Instead of straight away ringing up your doctor, and instead of straight away feeling, you have to get through your doctor, wait, just maybe a day, if say you have a bad stomach or something like that, backtrack just one day or 2 days and see what is it that, especially as you're growing older, you couldn't do the same things that you were doing earlier, and I've learned that. You can't eat the same things the way you used to eat, and stopping in the middle of the road and having a pani puri or something. We can't do it anymore, mainly because of the pollution, because of the water levels, because of the oil that's being used. So you can't do the same things. So once we've accepted, as I said, if you befriend time, everything will be easy. So if you have realized, just backtrack that one day. What is it that you had which was different from what you have normally? And you'll find that almost all the troubles that we have start from the gut. Am I on the right page?
Yes,
Almost.
you're almost there.
Yeah, almost. Because, it's also a mental feeling for me. I'm a complete darpok. I get scared of everything. I look very strong, but I am very, very scared all the time because I'm scared for the health of my loved ones. I'm scared for the health of myself. So to get over this is the best way not to age. Like many people would think that, oh, she looks so strong, and I don't feel bad, or I don't hesitate to ask for help. I have a problem with my knee. It's okay. I have a problem with my knee. God's been very kind. But I'm not in the mood at the moment, neither does my profession allow me to suddenly go to the doctor and check, and he'll say you do 100 tests again, and then you got to get another replacement. I'm not prepared to do that, okay? So what do? I try to see that I am not hesitant about asking for help. And once you ask for help and you get the help, people are there to help you all the time. And if you take that help with dignity and grace and honesty, I think the aging process itself slows down, gets scared of you. You know, because the bad niece says, oh, she's going to get some help now, it's going to be okay. Or there was a time when I would feel badly in these long airports to take a wheelchair, because there's something about a wheelchair, it's a mindset. You think it's bad, you think it's not nice. Similarly, an old age home, or a home where you allow people to live independently. You know, that's so beautiful, which is why I'm so excited when I think about Primus, or I think about Srijan, or the homes like that. Because when you see the people who book their homes beforehand, it's just fantastic. And I've worked with so many of them. So that stops the process, really, of really getting old, is when you are in your mind. I think the gut and the mind are two interrelated things, and we have people like the young ones to really help us out.
With that, I'd like to ask a question. She said it specifically. I don't feel shy to ask for help. And
Whatever help.
Yes. So when a Srijan and Primus come together to create such an institution, or to create such an area where people can stay, as she said, with friends together, engage together, as well as help is just a call away. You know, today, yeah, absolutely, help is just a call away. I'm just giving you a small example. I stay in a complex called Vyom. I have a 91-year-old mother. For me, if something goes wrong, I have to call for a doctor. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. May not be available. I'm only available in the evening. Call for an ambulance, 20, 30 minutes. Though one is in a complex, but like for help, since you are very clear about well-being, you're looking at those 6 or 7 pillars, and now with marriage between Srijan and Primus, which is going to create that well-being in an area where there'll be community living, where you and I at the same age are great friends. I get bored, I give you a call, we meet downstairs, we do adda maroing. I need help, I give a call, and suddenly the nurse charges up in 2 minutes. I'm just saying. Tell us a little bit about this concept, because as far as I know, I haven't seen this anywhere, at least not in the East, where we have a total living together. You know, total. You know, you're living life totally. You're not worried ki hobe, what will I do, what should be done. It's all there.
And also, Jimmy, it's not a question of the children putting their parents into an old home. It's a choice which all the elderly people make themselves. Am I right, Primus, for saying that?
Let me answer that question with an example. So, one of our residents, her name is Veena, and I had gone to visit them, and she was standing, and she came up and said, I don't want to be IAS. What is IAS? Any answers?
Anybody? IAS? What do you feel IAS is? Come on. Yes, the lady.
Yeah? It's Indian Aya service.
Indian.
So she was telling me, I am not ready to be babysitter to my grandkids all the time. I have a life of my own. And she pointed her.
Absolutely.
And she pointed me to her friend next to her and said, she is international Aya service. Her kids call her to America to take care of their kids. I am not ready. I have my own life. Right? Absolutely. So, and again, just not to bore you with statistics, but 96% of all my residents are self-funded. Nobody in this generation is willing to take money from their kids. And I'm sure that applies to all of you here, is you love your kids love you, but what you value is your own independence and your own decision-making power. Your kids are not making your decisions, right? And I meet hundreds of elders, I study aging for a living, and this generation of elders will never take money from their kids, but the same is not true with the kids. The kids actually take money from their parents.
Tell me about it.
Right? So, I think this is the last generation that does that. And this is the generation that actually sacrificed a lot, saw India in troubled times, saw difficult markets, And that's why most of this generation have saved a lot of money, and they are always circumspect to spend it because they've always come up in a time when resources were scarce. And today, with the children settling financially, the pressure is no more on this generation to support them. So now they're supporting themselves and saying, now we'll enjoy life. We want to live on our own. And I want to talk about a little bit about purpose, right? Guys, can you give me an example of a profession where the people die the last, like they live the longest, except my team? Please do not speak. Examples, guys. Which kind of people or profession where lifespan, health span is very high? Any examples? Farmer? No, unfortunately, that's not true. Any
Come on,
other
we
example?
need some participation. I'm sure all of you all think so brilliantly, so we can have some engagement. If I had to answer them, I would be totally wrong, so I'm not answering that. Please.
Doctor? No, doctors don't live very long. Sorry for the doctors in the room. Okay,
I think Cuba people live longer.
Cuba?
Yeah.
Cuba is not a blue zone, and I don't have enough data about Cuba. Let me give you an example, an answer from the lens of aging.
Yeah.
So Japanese do live longer as a general population. I'm talking, say, in India. We are Indians. We have our own genetic plus and minuses. So as a profession, if you notice, politicians live the longest.
Absolutely.
Agreed?
Agreed,
Yeah?
absolutely.
Okay, now let me ask you, why? Go back to blue zone. Are they physically active? Yeah. Are they mentally active? Yeah. Do they have a strong sense of purpose? Hell yeah. We have to be in power. I have to make sure I'm on top. Are they surrounded by people? Yes. Are they worried about their health? Yes. They're not ready to die.
True,
So-
absolutely.
You need, all of you need to learn from them. Right? They're
The right-
fighting stroke, they're
the
fighting
right,
heart
the right
disease.
things, the right
Yeah,
things.
the right things. I am only talking from the lens of aging. I have zero political affiliation. Just as a person who studies aging, it's a great place to go and learn. Right? So, same thing with Usha ji. Her purpose is so strong that the sparkle in her eye refuses to die.
And also the feeling, you know, that when somebody interviewed me recently, he asked me, how do you want to be remembered when somebody takes your ashes and goes? First I started crying. I don't want to die now. And then I said, you know, how do I want to be remembered? That I definitely want to be remembered that I brought a smile to somebody's face. Yeah, that's the most important thing. And I've never moved away from that purpose. That focus in my life is all the time. Whether everybody loses loved ones and there's so many problems that everybody has, right? But when you're able to overcome that, and when you are still, I mean, if there are fights in your group or in the place where you're working, and you're able to overcome that and still say hi, you know, I think that makes a
This,
Which is why I earlier said that some amount of stress is okay.
No,
And
I
this,
agree
with the
with you
same
because
political example.
Distress is bad, of course.
no, but you're looking about, when
Stress
you're
is not
talking about
very good.
stress, you see from statistics and from surveys, especially when you're aging and becoming older, a mental issue takes a lot of toll.
I want to make a point here.
Yeah, now when I'm coming to the mental part of it, since you are looking at the well-being, you are also looking at nutrition. How does one see? It's all of us. There's tension, there's problems. We always have so much in mind that spoils maybe our sleep, that spoils our eating habits. We fall sick due to that. You know, the concept of happy and healthy goes for a 6. So, Hina, you are an expert in this area. Suppose if I have to ask you, you know, how does one, you know, carry on with life in terms of nutrition? It's a very difficult question. Being mentally strong, because it's all about health. You know, if your health is good, you can always be happy. But if your health is problematic always, you'll be always tense. You know, it'll kind of create a mental tension.
Right.
So from your point of view, as a person who's done a lot of studies, in fact, just come back from Harvard's currently, what would you like to say about this? Because as we grow older, in the current surroundings, in our houses currently, maybe in our flats currently, we are like to ourselves mostly. Who's left, who's right, niche kya ho raha hai, not very much of interaction. Sometimes we feel lonely. Sometimes we want friends. Sometimes when we are lonely, we start thinking too much. And that again upsets us mentally. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, mental trauma today is the biggest problem among everybody in the world. So, coming to that point, how does one go about with it? Because even today, maybe I'm tense, something is not worked out, I'm rushing, something has gone wrong, and then 3-4 days I'm like all over the place, and then even when it's done, I'm still thinking, I hope it's okay. So, what would you like to say about that?
Well, it's a very profound and a very deep question to answer. But, when it comes to nutrition, all I can say is there's no one size fits all, right? Because, and you always hear that, which is that one food which you can, give me a name of one herb or something.
And I want to ask you this,
Right.
Before you carry on. Which is that jari booty you have? You still look so young, yeah. Kaun sa jari booty khati ho? Because you still look so young. Let us know, we'll also
You've
start
been
eating.
calling everybody young here. And since I've
Yeah,
come,
you know what? When we are talking with each other, don't you see the Josh? Chilled out, bindas. You want us to talk like that. You want to be with your friends. You want to engage like this. I'm feeling very happy now, honestly, because it's just such a lovely conversation we are all having. And one, like imagine if we were all in the same complex and we had to meet every day. Wow, I would love it. My mental state would have become less tension. Please.
see, I'm going on a different tangent altogether here. But see, like I've been practicing for almost 21 years now. And one thing I witness every day in my clinic, and especially when it comes to women's health, is what I wanted to point out. You can be from any background, financially, but there's one refrain, one disdain, one sorrow, which most Indian women carry, is that, they cannot forget how their mother-in-law treated them. Every single woman who would come, no matter which background they come from, when they open their heart to you, because when as a nutritionist you talk to them, you talk about the lifestyle, like what time you wake up, what do you eat, and inadvertently people blurt out, So I think that it's all about relationships. I think nutrition comes way down in the ladder. This is important. Because it's about your connection, whether you live, see, your family is your first unit where you belong. Like I'm sorry, that International Aya Service, I think you are privileged if you can bring up your grandchildren. You are.
But one second. You bring up your grandchildren is fine. We all do. But when they become adults, when they go out, when they are earning, they want to live their life separately.
I personally
they get
feel,
married.
as you said, karma. As a parent, how did you treat your child when you were young? You didn't take care of them; they won't take care of you.
No, trust me.
Simple.
They
It's
are
all
babies.
give and take in this world. Of course, there are people who. Anyway,
But I'd like to come to this, to Adarsh on this,
Yeah,
point.
and also,
Sorry.
like there is this whole study on happiness, because see, food is related to your mood. Now, if you're really sad, you don't feel like eating, or you will overeat. And that's the problem today, because see, I'll tell you, most women who don't have a sense of purpose, because a lot of women don't have a sense of purpose.
You really feel that?
I do. There are women who are going to their family offices, but they just go from I'm a working woman, they come and tell me, and when do you go to work? I go to work at 12 o'clock. What time are you back? 3 o'clock. What kind of work are you doing? So they are going in their workplaces, but they're really not doing anything. So, that's when, all that frustration, all that, that despair comes out on food. So, I think relationships is what we need to.
The mental, psychic health has got some connection with many a time what you eat.
Absolutely.
I just like to open this question out to everybody out here. It's direct dil se, I'm going to ask you all. All of you all are on the slightly older side. Are your children living separately, or are they out to study abroad, or they are married and settled down? Because whenever the kids get married and they settle down, they want to live a little bit separately, because it's sometime a part of life. So how many of y'all have your children maybe abroad working or living separately because they are married and settled down. If I could have some hands up. Okay, so somewhere or another, we find that when children grow up, of course we love them. We've taken care of them. They are a heart and soul. Even if they are 60 years old and I'm 90 years old, I'll still mera beta, mera baby. I'll still say that. But as the world is progressing, we know our children want to do a lot in life. If someone has a business today, the son says, Papa, I want to become a computer science. I want to take computer science and do my own thing with Google. I'm not interested in business. It's happening. As the age is progressing, children want to live independently, and when children want to live independently, also, you all as senior citizens or citizens who are slightly of an older age also want to do a lot of things which you want to do. You'll have dreamt of doing. You'll want to live a little bit independently. You'll want to try out new things. You want to be with your college friends, like this gentleman came and told me, hi Jimmy, how are you? We studied in school together. You know, and imagine if we were staying in the same complex every day, we would have been doing adda. Don't you all want to meet up with your friends on a regular basis, sit down, bhaan ka ek chai, relax and enjoy, or you don't want to do that? Anyone who loves doing that? Adda with your friends? And if you got the opportunity to do it every day, would you all do it? Or you say, nah, boring ache. Would you all do it if you got the opportunity to do it every day? Yes. Adarsh? I'm going to, with this point, see what's happening is, talking about mental health. Sometimes I feel a lot of senior people, because children are away or kids are away, most of the time they are alone in the houses. Even if the son comes back in the evening, he's so busy with his own personal thing, maybe gives, hi mommy, hi daddy, 5 minutes. And when they were much younger, there was always mummy, daddy whole day. Yeah. You know? So in this case, I realized there is a lonesome feel, you know, don't know what to do. If I'm staying in a single flat, or if I'm staying in a, where to go. Because, as you grow older, you don't want to go out so much. You want to be in your surroundings. You want to meet up with people, etc., etc. Taking this into account, how does Primus work? Because it's not just about well-being. It's about coming together also, and the mental activity which actually tickles and lights the flame for happiness.
No, the first thing is, we are all conditioned so much by society and by movies and by some of the historic content fed to us, that we are subject to ageism, right? Why are any of you different from me? Why do you have to behave your age? Correct. Why do you have to not do something because of your age? Correct. These are all the mental barriers that society is putting on you. You don't feel that way, you're made to feel that way. Don't climb this ladder and remove this thing. Look at your age. No, please climb the ladder, you'll be fine. Right? So, an extension of that is this misconception that physically staying in the same space as the children is somehow going to improve relationship. Again, to throw some data out there, India is already 60% nuclear as we speak. Urban India is 72% nuclear. Calcutta is probably higher than that. I don't have data for Calcutta. So, love and affection has nothing to do with the physical space. There are thousands and thousands of people in a joint family where there is no meaningful conversation or connection, and we are conditioned to give a nurse to our parents. How do you be a good child? Maine nurse de diya. Arey abhi, what is this nurse doing? This nurse is making sure that the parent is dependent on the nurse, so the job is intact. Don't stand, don't sit, don't move, I will bathe you, I will feed you. Sorry, this is an enemy of the parent, it's not love. Because
no, it's also selfishness.
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
children, we ourselves want that our parents should be very well looked after, and we want to go and do our work. So we give a nurse, bahut sab theek ho
So
gaya.
again, all of this is coming from conditioning. The nurse is bad for the parent. And again, physical space doesn't mean meaningful connection.
So what does one do?
Right?
I'm just saying
So
is,
the
if I have an elderly mom in the house and I want her to be taken care of, what are those kind of conditions or those kind of attitudes and well-being in place that Primus can provide? What are the thought process?
The solution that we provide essentially is that within the project or the development, we try to create a mini blue zone. Within this physical space, how do we keep our people physically active, socially active, connected, mentally stimulated, right health and right food? But at the same time, give them an option to have their family next door. So,
So I'm just giving a small example. If I'm right or wrong, please. So you have a tower A.
yeah,
Tower A is for my mom and dad.
yes,
So I can stay in tower B.
yes,
I should not stay in tower A.
that's correct.
Why? Why? What is the
So-
reason behind this?
The idea here is the way people currently live is each one enjoys their own independence, each one enjoys their own privacy, and everyone wants space, and finally we can afford it. So we are creating an ecosystem where all the generations can live together, but not necessarily under the same roof. So in a tower, typically you'll have the elders living together, wherein there's a whole bunch of guaranteed services that we give.
Now, when you
With-
say guaranteed services, just little specifics.
So things like, food, things like medicals and, medical
So it's-
care,
it's
things
all
like
in-house,
housekeeping.
all
Yeah,
in-house.
all in-house, things like housekeeping, concierge. And we have an events team that makes sure that people are outside the house and having a good time with friends. And then you have the next door tower where the kids and the grandkids are there, and we curate these activities between the grandparents and the grandkids, where we foster these meaningful connections. Right? So people get to live together and apart at the same time. So you can call it nuclear joint family, or we call it multi-generational living.
You experienced this in Bangalore and these places. Can you give us one example? That a family where the grandparents are staying in one tower and the son and the wife are staying in another tower with the grandchildren. Something like this, which has effectively worked. For many people, wherever these complexes have come up in a big way and are having the well-being attitude put in, basically.
No, so this already exists, right? If you look at most of these larger developments, you will see that the children and the parents are within the same complex, but they'll be like my father, mother in third floor.
And
I'm
don't
in
you
fifth
feel
floor.
that this is, excuse me, so much more prevalent in South India?
Yeah. So
In South India, I've seen my own grandparents and everybody. I mean, Tata, the eldest are in one block. The daughter and their son and all are in another block with their children. So if there's anything that's happening, actually Primus is just a fantastic extension of reality, of how we are. I mean, the way I think about it. Because the way we are now is that we have the children at hand. If something has gone wrong with Appa and Amma, they're always the children will
Who are in the
will
next-
run
in the next
to.
apartment,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, but Primus is making it not official. Primus is making it possible to do that.
Absolutely. And since we are with the Calcutta audience today, Primus and Srijan, let's go, because the opportunity is available now. Today, frankly, I don't think this kind of opportunity till now has been available in the east of the country.
No, because also there is, as you said about society, people think that everything is a Biddhashram. It's not so. It's not because you don't want to look after your parents. It's not right. It's not that every child doesn't want to. Sometimes it happens that they can't. They can't. And they have, even the younger generation is more, shall I say, more literate, more, ambitious, so many things.
And they're many times traveling. They're most of the
Exactly.
time not around.
So,
yeah, it's got nothing to do with love. And just to answer your earlier question about why its penetration rates are higher in South India and why I think Bengal will have equal or better is because this is a lifestyle choice that is arising out of education level. So more the educated elder and the literacy levels, quicker the adoption because they understand the value proposition and they're not governed by social bias, right? And this solution, and the only way to actually understand it is to go and visit one or talk to somebody who lives there. It's people who are extremely successful, financially stable, fully active. They just want to chill, and it's the women actually, because in Indian society, traditionally, the men are retiring and they are sitting and forwarding WhatsApp and watching TV, right? And the women still have to take care of the house.
Are they cooking?
And they want to cook. No, in my understanding of this, 90% of the women hate to cook after cooking for 40 years. Right?
Absolutely.
And in today's generation, if I ask my wife, you cook, she'll be like, dude, you cook. I am not going to cook. Right?
No, but tell me
things-
something with Srijan. Are you, is Primus tied up with Srijan with already existing properties?
Yeah. So
Oh, that's
we have a
wonderful.
tie-up, which of course we will talk about later. But here we are trying to help people understand how they can slow down their process of aging.
So, you know, let's get back to the well-being. So, in an ambience and atmosphere where the seniors are staying in a complex, how do you feel they will benefit so that they'll have their independence, they will be happy, you know, they will chill out with maybe 80 apartments, 80 friends out there. So, because you've gone through the process, so how will the well-being be upped to such a level that we'll say, boss, ami to kothai jacche na. I want to stay in the complex. It's happy living, enjoying living. I don't even want to go out. A lot of people, when they get into their complexes, why they don't want to go out? Because they're happy and they like the ambience. So when the senior citizen, trust me, I know, a lot of senior citizens know how to party hard. They know how to enjoy life hard. The kind of conversations they have and the adda they have is amazing. Most probably in a complex of senior citizens, you'll have 80 of them sitting downstairs every evening at 5 o'clock over chai and halla hulli. That's what life is all about. So, how does the well-being go to the upper limit in this kind of style of living?
So the first thing is it's guaranteed services, right? Half of our reason to get stressed or annoyed at home is because somebody who's making our life easy every day doesn't show up. The maid doesn't show up, the cook doesn't show up, the driver doesn't show up, or something else doesn't show up. And now the husband and wife are bickering about who has to do what. And even if they show up, they'll be going off for once in a few months, they go away for a long time, they'll ask you for a loan. It's not easy. But if you're in a professional setting where there's a bench strength, services are guaranteed. No matter what, the house gets cleaned, the food gets cooked, right? There's always a doctor, there's always a nurse, there's always a physiotherapist. So we are somewhere between a hotel and a home and a little bit of a hospital, right? So that's the first thing that takes away a lot of the stress. The second thing is the physical house is mostly turns into a bedroom because the only time people go back to their home is to sleep. Because 3 times a day they're in the restaurant, 2-3 times a day they're in different parts in the multi-purpose hall, participating in an event, playing some games, maybe playing cards, learning something about.
I just like to
something
put
new.
something more. What is coming up with Srijan is a dream come true. The entire houses, I mean, from the villas to the complexes, etc., are facing the sea.
River.
The view,
The Ganga.
the river. So the view, the breeze, you know, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, हवा यदि अच्छा होता है तो पूरा health भी अच्छा रहता है. And to be very honest, why I'm saying this, because I've been to that area, and it's heaven on earth. Just going there, when the initial setup was happening, you could actually feel the freshness. So once I can imagine when everything is ready there, that one area for the senior citizens and the families will be something which is a dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, the soul of the Ganga is something else. It has seen India, you know, for centuries. And just being on the banks of Ganga, it's a very spiritual experience. So, yes, we are lucky to be able to give that experience
I think
here.
the only of its kind of project which is actually in front of the Ganga or in front of the river.
Yeah.
I don't think any other complex or apartment of high-rising apartments have been situated near the waterfront anywhere in India. So this is one of its kind in the country, and the kind of facilities which you said in terms of well-being, in terms of health, in terms of happiness, in terms of independence, in terms of doing whatever you love to do. Just imagine. I mean, I am just trying to emphasize it. Please carry on, others. I'm so sorry.
Let me try to pull the audience back in. Who can tell me what is the number one cause of early death in elders? Like number one. Or like lower mortality. Tension, stress, maybe it is, but not number one.
Loneliness, actually.
Yeah, isolation.
Isolation.
Research has proved that the number one cause of disease, the number one cause of early death is isolation. What is the number two cause? True, it's high up there, but that's not statistically the number two reason. I agree. I'm just asking for the second most, backed by research, not backed by what I'm saying. What is the second one? So the second one is falling down. So if an elderly person falls down, the chances of something getting on to being a large complication is very high. So as part of what we do is we make these physical spaces fall safe. Through physiotherapy, we reduce the chance of falling down. So Usha ma'am, just circling back to the story of your knee. For example, if from the early years, if we know how much weight you put on what leg, what is, if we do a DEXA scan on you and we know, okay, how much muscle mass you have in which knee, what is your hip integrity, what is your mineral density of your bone, you would never need a knee replacement surgery. I promise you that. Maybe because it was too late, you had to get a knee replacement surgery. That's what I mean by prevention. Because everything is about understanding our body and no two people are the same. And then bringing in the interventions through non-invasive procedures. See, I work against a hospital. The job of the hospital, unfortunately, is to take you to surgery. My job is to keep you out of the hospital, which is why we don't have any tie-ups with any hospitals in terms of being in-house. We have tie-ups for emergencies and surgeries, but our team is absolutely not connected to a hospital because they work on prevention. They don't have any targets to send anybody to a hospital.
This team is going to be 24/7 available.
Yeah.
So it's like in the complex in itself.
Yeah, they're going to be stationed there. Yeah.
So this is, you've taken care of all the nitty-gritties in terms of the tension areas, literally. You know, you have support, you have care, you have internal hospitalization, as I would say, in the houses. I'm not saying hospitalization like a separate thing, but you'll have someone coming to your apartment to ensure and attend to you. And in today's day and hours, let me tell you, I think that's very, very important, because access to help in a standalone apartment or a complex can be a nightmare. It could take a couple of hours or could take more than an hour, and you have to rush yourself. Maybe, start your car, put the patient in charge. So this, I think, is going to really kind of take it to the next level.
No, absolutely. And irrespective of whether you all engage with us or not, we will send to all of you what a preventive healthcare plan looks like, what you should do on your own, so that it's something for you to look at and consider if you want to bring that as part of your everyday life.
We've just got a couple of more minutes to go as the time factor. So anybody out there, we can take one or two questions, because we can take more. If anybody out there would like to ask any question, we'd be more than happy to answer your questions, whether it be about Primus, whether it be about well-being, whether it be about living. Anybody. There's I think someone in the corner.
Can we have a mic passed around, guys?
Sorry. Before the question comes, what is your, what is the pricing like? How expensive is it?
This
It's a
It's
good
important
question.
to ask.
Yeah. Ushadi, this reminds me, when there was an ad for cars. When they used to go by, when people go to sell the cars, first thing the guy used to have, kitne deti hai? Everybody was interested in the mileage of that.
He stole my line.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see behind us is on the Ganges. I think a sight. Don't you love it? What you see? Just imagine. Okay, let's get to the question. The gentleman is waiting in the car, please.
Yeah. Just a very interesting discussion, particularly icons like Ushadi is there and others. Just one or 2 points I want to enter here. like cultural factors, it's not mentioned here because Indians, particularly our generation, if you say the generation we belong, particularly 60 to 70 years old, so we have a lot of cultural baggages, what you say, things like that. Somebody told that higher service, and Nina correctly told that it is a privilege to have grandchildren. I totally agree with you. There were studies in the UK also that those children living with grandparents, they were the better mental faculty were developed. So it's not nothing that living separately is a great idea, but it's a compulsion. It's a compulsion. Another example I want to say in the Indian context, if you see Amitabh Bachchan, he's 82 years old now. And the way he's living gracefully, the way he's still continuing his profession. But one thing I observed, he's a family man. Maybe something has come in the family. So what are your ideas? Because this region may be unique. What are your ideas against this family disintegration, becoming a nuclear and separating Chile? That
So,
may be compulsion.
I understood
but
your question.
how do you address this issue of the senior people?
So the first thing is, the only thing that is permanent is change, right? If you looked at marriage as an institution, and I asked a person from 40 years or 30 years ago that there's something going to be called a love marriage, where two people will choose to marry somebody they want to, what would be the reaction? Yeah, all hell will break loose, right? Today, if you ask arranged marriage, hell is, they're wondering what is that? And it's not even taken so long, right? In 20 years, I think the narrative has changed. Ultimately, convenience wins. Ultimately, in everything in life. And this convenience is coming through understanding of what each stakeholder wants. There are three independent stakeholders: the elder, the working couple, and the grandchildren. It's not lack of love. Absolutely not. If a person is being asked to come from one country to another to take care of grandkids, it's not, they're going because of love. No question about it. But is that right for the parent? Because the kids are very busy making their life. Is it right for the parent to leave everything and go for 90 days, 120 days, 6 months? It's probably not best for the parent. They do it out of conditioning. And they do it because of, again, all stakeholders don't understand aging. It's got nothing to do with love. Love is absolutely there. So the question really is, this so-called culture that we keep talking about, I think what would ultimately win is understanding of what is good for each of us. As a 60-year-old person, what is good for me? How do I continue to stay healthy and happy? What makes me happy? Am I ready to pay for my happiness? I think that is changing every day.
We can take one more question because time is running short. I saw another.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, a very good evening to the distinguished panel out there, and a very good evening to each one present here. I'm Coach Anjana Mishra Tripathi, and kudos to you for this great initiative. Sounds great, it sounds impressive. I'd like to throw light upon something that, when we say there's a cup of coffee and I accidentally bumped against someone, and what spilled off the cup? Obviously it was coffee. But can you tell me why? I mean, it's a very rhetoric kind of a question. But can you tell me why?
Why did the coffee spill? Is that the question?
No. I mean, the question is, why did coffee spill out of the cup?
Okay. So was something else supposed to spill
Very
out of the
true.
cup
I
if it
think
was filled
somebody
with
has.
coffee?
Yes. I think somebody has answered. I mean, I can hear some whispers all around me that because the cup contained coffee, right? Okay. And therefore, that was what spilled out. Now, I want to bring in the concept of you can't pour out of an empty cup. So if your cup is first filled with love, care, self-care, a lot of attention, it's only then that you can pour out love and care. Yes or no?
100%.
So first we'll have to fill our own cup. You cannot pour out of an empty cup. That said, I would like to ask you, what is this initiative doing? Is it doing anything towards that?
Absolutely, right? It just goes back to helping people rediscover purpose. For example, we have a person with us who is 81, who started learning French at 77. His name is Shank Srinivas, and now he teaches French online because his dream was always to learn French. Right?
Yes.
So, and he said, I didn't get the time to do it in my life. And I have hundreds of such examples, but I'm just giving you one. So that's what we do. We make sure the cup refills itself. But generally speaking, if people are here, that means you're already curious minds. You have come out of your house. You have come to understand, okay, what is aging? What is that these people are here to talk about? Already, all of you here, your cups are more or less full. It's the ones who are not here that we need to be thinking about.
Well said. Let me be more specific. Give me a patient hearing. I know I'm stretching it a bit, but then Primus along with Srijan. Anything, any initiative like this, like coaching or
Yeah.
renewalism? Have you heard of Project
So-
Renewalism, by the way?
Yeah. So-
I don't think many have heard about that.
Ma'am, if we don't mind you, with your permission, we'll cut you short, but we'll answer this question. So
You can keep it to Primus and Srijan. Don't,
as
no
as
problem.
part of our services, we also have mental health services for people to just share. So there are people who come in few hours every week who are geriatric psychologists who just come to listen. So yes, it is part of what we offer.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's in Bata Nagar here.
It's-
in Calcutta.
it's,
attached to the Ganges.
It's the Bata factory. You go down the flyover, turn right, and you can actually see one of the largest ever waterside projects maybe in the country. It speaks for itself. So maybe, yeah, maybe if you are 70 years old and want to do some water sports, you can try that also. No issues. We'll take one more question if there is anybody there. Yeah.
Yes, please. Actually, I am a hand shadowgrapher of India. My name is Amar Sen. Probably Ushadi knows me also. Hi, Ushadi. And now, my question is only this. I have attended this particular seminar only because of wherever I go that I see, at present, first of all, I have to say that I am 75-year-old. Somehow nobody believes it.
Sir, you look very young, let me tell you.
Yes,
You don't
Jimmy.
look 75.
Yes, sir. Therefore, I apologize. So anyway, my question, yes, thank you so much. My question is only this, that everywhere I have seen only one thing, that is the scarcity of positivity. So far as the age is concerned, everybody asks me that how you keep your health like this. That I answer only one thing, that I am very much from top to bottom, I am positive. So would you kindly discuss something to develop the positivity? Thank you so much.
Yes, I just want to say one thing on this, okay? Welcome to the family. It's just fantastic. And I want you all to know that, because I come from the fraternity, I do. It's got nothing to do really with Srijan and Primus, but it's got everything to do with you and with every one of us. There are people who have seen me going to Inox. This is all the truth, okay? To see a movie. And after the movie was over, I just held on to the seat and got up. And there was an elderly couple, both with walkers. They looked at me and they said, "Oh ma, tumi ekhono cinema dekho." I just didn't know what to say, so I said, "Ki korbo, more jabo naki?" It just came out of my mind. And I think that's the positivity we've got to have. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Just feel young and feel, and feel your age. It's okay. It's okay. That doesn't matter. There have been people who said that to me even when I've gone to, yesterday when I got off the aircraft and got into the bus, there was a lady I know, she was dying to know what my age was, okay? Simply. So she came quietly and snuggled next to me, and then she said to me, "How old are you?" Just straight like that. So I said, "How old are you?" I asked her, and I said, "What's your weight?" Yeah. She just, "No, I want to know," but it didn't hurt, it didn't harm her anywhere. So she said, didn't say anything about that. No, she said, "I want to know how old you are." So I told her I'm 77. So then she said, "Oh, not bad."
Didi, you know, it's
So don't worry about it.
Absolutely,
It's
you know.
all positivity.
Didi is H and H, happy and happening, always.
I'm age as well. I'm also age.
No, you're not. You look like a young
You.
college girl.
Okay, no, I start with an age.
Okay.
So I just want to make one point about positivity. And I feel, how do you stay positive? If you have energy. If you don't have energy, you don't feel positive. And that's the reason, you need to eat right. You have to eat right for energy. No, not really. That also gives you energy, right?
No,
Yeah,
the
so
sweets
there's
can give a lot
mental
of
energy and there's physical energy both. So you have to eat for both, really. So energy is something which we need.
Well, it's always there, positivity. And we're going to end on a very positive note, but I have Didi with me. And, when we have the one and only Usha Di with us, my request, and I hope, she's so sweet, she never says, na hobe na. Very positive. Absolutely hobe, she says. Didi, one song. We'd love you to sing one song before we close this evening. So, whatever.
You know Mr. Bond, right? James Bond. I mean, he's changed so many times in 56 years. He's changed so many times.
Yes.
And though change is inevitable, I've remained the same, okay? And I'm still singing his songs.
You still sound the same when I heard you when I was
Yeah.
5 years old.
And James Bond asked me whether I would come today and do a shoot for him. He said, Usha, you have the most fantastic body. I said, oh, thank you very much. And then I asked him, I said, are you sure? Because I asked God when I was born, are you going to give me a good voice or give me a good body? And I said, he asked me, what do you want? I said, give me a good voice, give me a good body, which is why I look the way I do.
You look awesome, let me tell you that.
Yeah. So I said, I'm so sorry I have to meet up with Adarsh, with Henna, and with Jimmy today, and with all of you. So I gave up James Bond just for all of you. Do I get a hand for that? I mean, which lady would give up James Bond, huh? When he asks, yeah. So here it is. I'd have to ask Samresh and Rinta to do their bit. Samresh, you there? Okay. Here it is. It's a song which I'm still doing. I mean, I'm still doing James Bond songs. And this one is from the Academy Award winning song and film. It's called Skyfall in a Sari. Do you want to hear it? Okay. I think it goes with the background as well. Thank God for being Indian. And though we're citizens of the world, thank God I'm here with Primus Srijan. This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel the earth moving then. Hear my heart burst again. For this is the end. I've drowned and dreamt each moment. So overdue I owe them. Swept away I'm stolen. Let the sky fall. When it crumbles, we will stand tall. Face it all together. Let the sky fall. When it crumbles, we will stand tall. Face it all together. And skyfall. And skyfall. start. 1,000 miles and poles apart, where worlds collide, days are dark. Give me my number, you can take my name, but you never have my heart. Let the sky fall, let it crumble, we will stand tall, face it all together. Let the sky fall, let it crumble, we will stand tall, face it all together. Let sky fall, let it crumble. And all the music that we've done by my musicians, not taken from the net. Shiva, Shambhu, Raja, Amol, where you go, I go. What you see, I see. I know I'll never be me without the security of your loving arms. Keeping me from harm. Put your hand in my hand and we stand. Let the sky fall, when it crumbles, we will stand tall, face it all together. Let the sky fall, when it crumbles, we will stand tall, face it all together. Let sky fall, let sky fall.
Well, a big hand to the one and only. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
as we end today's conversations, I would say, a big thank you to Ushadi, Neha, Adarsh, of course, all about well-being. I want you all to look at the screen because the sky is actually going to fall. And if you have any questions about the project, there's a kiosk outside where you can check out whatever you want to check out. But please keep your eye on the screen because there's a video going to be coming up and you're going to love it. Thank you so much. It was
Of vibrant and active senior citizens. This community is built on the pillars of care, convenience, and comfort. At Primus, seniors participate in various cultural and social events along with other like-minded people in the community. They laugh, play, exercise, and hang out with their friends. They boldly embrace active, healthy, and a fun life where they thrive in their golden years. After all, age is just a number.
Ladies and gentlemen, the kiosk is inside, so you can check out and ask any questions about the project and about well-being and living.